It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
What's that? I gotta go find I got it.
Can't fill it back up here.
I think it's frozen. Where you going, sir? Go ahead. Oh, you got one there? No, it's out. I'll just go on there, quick meeting.
Dallas 3 times. So on the.
Cheyenne,
What?
see that gavel needs to be quiet.
I was.
You kids especially.
We're gonna bring it later.
Oh, scare all the children.
Danger.
They're not gonna come back. You behave yourself.
We brought in extra security tonight. I'd like to call the regular city council meeting to order on Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. If you would you stand and join for an invocation, please? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and we look forward to the rain, Lord, and the safety within it. Lord, we thank you for this council, that they make decisions and guide this city in a way that is appropriate for the members of this council and the citizens of this county and city. We thank you, Lord, for the guidance. We ask that you be with us and protect us in all we do. Pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Say the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Roll call for council members. Councilmember Schultz is absent. Councilmember Mapes.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann.
President.
Councilmember Freeze.
Present.
Councilmember Brennan.
Here.
We have a quorum. Each person who addresses the city council tonight comes to the podium. Please give your name and your address for the record. We also ask that all the comments during the public meeting and agenda items for public hearings be given consideration to be limited to 3 minutes per person. Your time can't be given to another person. We also ask that you only be allowed to speak once during the meeting. And at this time, if you'll silence your phones, we'll do the same. We ask that if you'll listen to the council, we'll return that to all your comments that you have tonight as well. Thank you for coming, especially you young folks. We have some honors to give out tonight. Thank to one of our educational professionals, Ms. Mapes, who did a great job. We're excited about that. We're going to start with this, our announcements and presentation section, and recognize some of you folks.
Hey, that's me, isn't it?
That is you.
Okay. So what we did, just so everybody kind of knows, we had put out there that we wanted dinosaur designs for our dinosaur that the city has purchased. And so we put it out to the whole community. And then, of course, we kind of targeted our students. And I will say, ladies that won the design, I had hundreds Several of the art classes, it was a requirement that they had to do it to get a grade. And so it was tough, wasn't it, council, deciding? We narrowed it down. I narrowed it down to 29 different designs. And then the council voted and many of our city workers voted. And so our design, here's one side of our design. And then if you'll show the other side. Oh, nope, that's not, that's the same one.
Hold on, I have to go down. Got 4 screens. There we go.
And there's the other side. So we'll give out the design and then we'll declare the name. And so if I can have Bellamy Yeager and Brinley Templeton, they are our design. Come on up, ladies. And let's give them a round of applause. Don't leave yet because once we get everybody announced, we're going to do a picture. Okay. So thank you guys very much for your inspiration. I assume that one of you did one side and one did the other, or did y'all collaborate?
Yeah, we collaborated.
Okay, you collaborated together. And what grades are you guys in?
I'm a freshman.
Okay.
And I'm a sophomore.
Okay, well, great job, and we will be visiting with you guys and just to know about how we're gonna paint it, all that, okay? And then we also had a naming contest, so we wanted to name our dinosaur something special, and our plan is our dinosaur is gonna have something around the neck, you know, a necklace or something that will have.
Bling, TikTok,
What?
a big old clock.
There you go. A TikTok. And so the name that we voted on, it was the same thing. You can imagine, we had lots and lots of great names that were suggested, and 3 people ended up giving us the same name, and that was one of the finalists. And then once again, we all voted, and we came up with Glennosaurus. And so the name of our dinosaur is Glennosaurus, and the ones who came up with that name are Valeria Hernandez. Come on up, Valeria. Lily DeLay. And Everly Blank. Valeria, what grade are you in? Sophomore. And what grade are you in, Everly?
I'm in first grade.
First grade. Everybody, they all can stand behind you because they're tall, but I'm just.
Yeah, I would like to do this. I was like, where's the camera? What's your job description?
Thank you. That's what other people do.
Yeah,
That's your child.
wonderful.
Story, I can't see you.
Alrighty. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Take like 20. Alright, got it.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Hold on, a second. Somebody needs to be like right dead center.
Oh, yeah. Pam is good.
Pam,
Okay,
I got it.
Moms, or they are all over it.
Listening. There, have some more moms that take this. Okay, we don't need to. There you go, right there. One more. Okay, okay, there we go.
Sure, we don't want one more?
I would like to point out that 3 of these ladies are former students of mine, and so that was so exciting to see that. So thank you, everybody.
So you think you had an impact on?
Well, you know, my artistic ability has transferred into these young people, and I'm sure they got it all from.
Hey, you can't leave.
We can all leave.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
I'll just go.
Thank y'all.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Hey,
for the
when we
contribution.
get it done, we'll have another ceremony.
Yeah, we'll have a ribbon cutting.
Okay, Veronica, I've sent this to you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to leave?
Well, a little
I
bit there.
would leave for any amount of money.
You go sit out on Cyclone Street. Why don't you do that? All right, where are we? We're going to move item and individual items for consideration. We have an accounting firm that we just finalized our financials with, and he has other things to do. So we're going to bring him on board before we start with the public hearing. Are you going to call him or?
He's up right there.
Oh,
Look at him.
hey, Mr. Henry.
Here I am.
Council, I'm going to open it up for any questions you may have. I have one, but I'll let y'all start if you have anything.
Yeah, I'm happy to, I can go through the part that I was gonna go through and then.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Go right ahead.
So, we have a letter that, has been mailed, to you, that has, findings, and audit matters, things like that, and attached to it are the audit adjustments. So that will be coming, and once those, once the adjustments are made, then, the general ledger and this bound report or the final report will match up. So, that has been mailed and will be there, soon. In the actual main report, probably the most important part is on the front of the report is we put our called the independent auditors report on page 1, and that's our letterhead, and it is the second paragraph is the opinion paragraph where we put our opinion on the front of your report, saying that in our opinion, these financial statements represent fairly the situation with the city, both the financial position and the activity for the year. So that second paragraph is a clean audit opinion, unmodified audit opinion, which is the best you can get from your auditors, which is good and is likely to be, if somebody outside the city were looking at your annual financial report, the first thing that they would want to know is, did you have a clean audit? And so you did. So that's good. And then back a little bit further in the report on page 9 is a statement of net position. And that's laid out with assets at the top, current and non-current, liabilities towards the bottom, current and non-current, and then net position. And there's some deferred inflows and outflows that have to do with TMRS in there also. But the main thing that we look at when we look at net position is we're looking at this point in time, September 30th, 2025, we're looking at, do you have enough cash and things that turn into cash easily, like short-term investments and receivables, to cover the current liabilities that you have? So that would be payables and accruals and any notes or debt, current debt payments. So that would be debt payments that are due within the year. So if you look on the total current assets, on the right-hand column is the total column, you have 13,989,955. So just under 14 million. Look down in the liabilities, the top section of the liabilities, far left column, total current liabilities, 882,063. So our comfort level is high once your ratio is 3 to 1 or better. Yours obviously just about almost 14 million to a little under 1 million is 15 to 1 or more than 15 to 1. So very, very good financial position, and that is a testament to working hard to reduce liabilities and keep your assets in good shape. So that's great. And from our standpoint, a key point of this report. And then the next item that I wanted to cover is page 11. The first column is the general fund, and the second to bottom number is your fund balance, and your fund balance ended at 9,471,085. So, and the reason I point that out is that number is likely to be a number, 9.5 million, number that you looked at when you were doing your budgeting and your amendments to your budget and your budget to actual throughout the year. There's a lot of work that y'all have done on the general fund throughout the year, and so your budgeted number was just over 9.5 million. It was 9.57. If you look back on page 35, you can see a budget to actual comparison. But if you don't want to look there, it's fine. The final amended budget had your ending at 9,576,981. So 105, just a little under 106,000 less than where you were budgeted. And your sales tax and gross receipt tax were lower than where you thought they were going to be, and end up a little bit. And so that was really, I think, the item that tipped the scales. You did have some overages in your expenditures. Those were, I believe, all of them were related to projects that were going on that had some accruals involved that were part of the audit adjustments. So at right before 9/30, when the final amendments were made to the budget, there were some items related to construction, sidewalks, different things that had you hadn't gotten the information to be able to make the adjustments to the budget. So, but by the time we were there to actually do the audit, that information was available, and there was some work that was done prior to 9/30 that wasn't given to you to pay until after 9/30, and so some of those items ended up going into the budget, causing the budget to go, the expenditures to go over. The reason that we don't have any significant problem with the overages are, for one, your revenues were also over budget, so that's part of it. You have every expenditure that you have and every project that you have was authorized and approved through the council. So every single expenditure, significant one, and every project was approved. So these overages are strictly timing issues, and so and then in addition to that, you had plenty of funds to pay for everything. So there were no cash flow issues, there were no authorization issues, there were no and there was no confusion as to the actual expenditure itself. It was merely a timing of when it was recorded in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And so so even though it's an overage, it's not a significant finding from our standpoint. So and then the last thing I was going to cover is back on page 39, and that part of the report is our internal control rate. portion of the report. And when we look at internal controls, we're looking at predominantly controls over disbursements. And so we're looking to make sure that things are authorized properly, checks are signed properly, payments are made out to the correct vendor for the correct amount, and they're paid in a timely manner. And then for payroll, we do some sample testing of payroll, and in there, we're looking for make sure that employees have their personnel files for the employees, first of all, and then that they're complete. And then that the gross pay is supported by something, in the personnel file, and the net pay is calculated correctly, and that the net pay is actually what was paid. So when we look at all of your capital expenditures, and a fair amount of those, and all your debt expenditures, and a sample of everything else. And so in all of that, all the authorizations were good, all the payroll stuff was good, all of the vendor issues and things that we looked at were all good. And so the only findings that we have for the year are relate to almost exclusively relate to the timing of payments. And so the basically accruals, much of the recording of the expenditures is on a cash basis. And in order to move from cash basis, or some of those things from cash basis to accrual for the report, we had some adjustments. And so what we spoke with the employees about when we were doing this, especially Veronica in particular, is that we're gonna, as she goes through and makes the adjustments that we proposed, we're carving out some time in our schedule to walk through those with her to make sure that she understands what they are, because our explanations on those forms are pretty cryptic, and so they might not be clear. And so we're gonna have some time to make sure they're clear, they get recorded correctly, and then some ideas about where they came from and why they came about, so that next year those things can be looked at before we get there and taken care of. And I feel confident that the number of adjustments will be reduced next year. We had some pretty lengthy discussions about where the adjustments were coming from and what they were about. So I feel confident about that. So as far as findings go, we have a finding because there were a number of adjustments, and whenever we have, excuse me one second. Sorry about that. Somebody walked in and I had my door open. One of the things that the Governmental Accounting Standard Board has stressed and continues to stress is that there needs to be a comment whenever we have enough adjustments, either in number of adjustments or dollar amount of adjustments, where it makes a significant impact. And so we did have some of those, and again, it's mostly timing and accrual stuff, but it was enough to change things enough that we felt like we needed to have the comment. And then because of that, a couple of the line items in your budget went over, and so that was a second comment, but it's really the same. It's really the same comment. We just we listed it separately because one is a weakness in the reporting and one is a non-compliance because of the budget thing. And then the last item was a procurement issue. According, the state procurement requirements state that anytime funds are spent with an individual vendor that equal or exceed $50,000 in a year, in a fiscal year, the formal procurement procedures have to be followed, which include advertising, sealed bids, all of those things that you've done on numerous occasions for all your major projects and all the significant things that have gone on every year over the years. What happened in the current year was that there were a few items that, there were a few vendors that when the expenditures were made, they weren't procured. Some of those were smaller items that added up to and exceeded 50,000 for the year. And that limit has been raised to 100,000. So it won't be as much of an issue going forward, but, and honestly, I really think the limit needs to be raised more than that, but what they're trying to do, in those procurement things is really not target Glenrose. What they're trying to target is places like Houston or some other place that's large that might give out awards to a preferred vendor, where they would say, we're gonna give you an award for this project, but we're gonna break the project into 100 phases, and each phase is gonna be $49,000. So you're gonna, in total, it's a lot of money, but each phase is below the limit. And so what they've done is that if you spend 50,000 in total, not per phase or per project, but in total, you have to procure it. And again, it's targeted at abuse, and what happened with you is far from abuse. It has nothing to do with that. But because the dollar amount exceeded 50, that it had to be noted. And so, so things like, for example, your electric provider, if there's a contract in place that you procured and it was a 5-year contract, when that 5 years is up, it needs to be procured again, not just renewed. Same with the garbage or any other service that you have that where you procure it and you get the lowest bid, or maybe you choose the second lowest bid because of the reputation of the organization or whatever it is, but however you do it, you've decided. And then when that contract runs up, there's a renewal that's put in front of you, and you just have to make sure that if the renewal phase was part of the original procurement, that's okay. If it wasn't specifically, then it has to be procured again. And so, again, none of these findings are things that anybody in the state is gonna come to you about, but they're things that we, as in our profession, we have to be able to note them for when we get audited, that they don't see things and then say, why didn't you say anything? And so that's why they're in there. So overall, the report is really good, and your financial position is really good. And all of the help that we got when we were there was excellent. We everybody there was running around ragged while we were there. And I'm sorry about that, but that's what happened. But they were extremely helpful, and so we really appreciate all the help, and every question was answered, all the things were dealt with. So it was a very good audit from our perspective, and a good report. And that's, I think, all I was gonna cover unless there's questions, and I'll try to answer if there are.
You know, Mr. Hamby, one thing I will say is that in a small community, sometimes the procurement process is a little more difficult to get exactly what you need. Sometimes there's one bidder, sometimes none. So some of those items, but I just asked that of all the suggestions you made, the corrective action, I think will take care of all of it, and we should be just fine. And the suggestions you made, we understand, and we certainly will address them.
There's, you know, when we discussed, every item that we discussed was met with, you know, positive, like, what can we do? How can we do it better? What do we need? How do we keep things from slipping through the cracks and all of that sort of thing? And so I'm very confident, and we're available. You know, if there are questions, Veronica, if you or your staff, if you have questions when you're going through that, we're available, and we try to answer. We answer emails quickly. We try to answer our phone, but sometimes we're in someone's office and we can't immediately. But we are available, and we will help. You know, clarify something if there's a question.
Council, does anyone have a question?
I do. George does.
Go ahead, George. Of course he does.
Thanks, of course. Mr. Handy, George Freeze. In looking forward to any changes that are kind of on the horizon for audits, anything that we need to be aware of and, you know, be prepared for? Is there anything that you're kind of watching on the horizon?
Yeah, well, one thing that is coming, and I don't think it's going to affect, it won't affect, I don't think it'll affect council. It will affect the back office people, but there's a financial reporting change, and it's going to change the management discussion and analysis section of the report. It's going to change the financial statements themselves and the formatting of it, and some things in the footnotes and disclosures. So it's mostly, I would say mostly presentation, but it's fairly significant amount of stuff. And so that's one. And then the other one is one that just started, but it relates to compensated absences. And honestly, I think it's a fairly confusing pronouncement, because what they're getting at is they're trying to identify and quantify the amount of time that people are paid not to work, is the way they phrased it. And what they mean by that, sick time, vacation time, any paid time off, then also maternity or paternity leave, jury duty, for family, death in a family or something, all of those things. And what they're trying to do is quantify what's the likelihood that people are going to take that time off, and what is it going to cost. The problem, from my standpoint, is oftentimes time off like that is not met with hiring new people to take their place. It's met with, okay, everybody, you've got more to do until that person comes back. So it doesn't actually cost the city or the organization anything, except exhaustion on the part of the people taking the place, or filling in. So, but that particular pronouncement is an ongoing thing that will have to be monitored, and your people have to kind of keep track of all of that in order for us to be able to test it or audit it. So, but that's not new. It was new this year, but it's I don't think it's gonna be a major thing for the city of Glen Rose, but it is for some organizations, I think, but,
Is that a GASB change or is that because of legislative change?
GASB. It's a GASB it's GASB 101, and they're pretty active. They're pretty active, so, there's things, there are gonna be some other requirements. But no, I don't see anything coming down the road that should blindside anybody, or cause major disruption in your budgeting process or require any significant extra reserves or anything like that.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, we appreciate your time. Have a good evening.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. All right, bye.
Before we move forward to the public hearings, I would like to say, Veronica, you did an incredible job. You're new somewhat to the budget process of the city. Jim Holder as well, and all of the directors. Be warned, we'll get your numbers in a little earlier next year. We've Richard made sure that happens, so it's good. But thank y'all for submitting your numbers. The council for looking at the budget numbers and deciding what's right, what's wrong for the community. And we all, I think, can slap ourselves on the back, some more than others, but it was a great job. It's done. On to next year.
Don't you have to actually accept the audited financials now? But thank you for the recognition.
Huh?
Thank you for the
Oh,
I make a motion to approve the audited financial, the annual audited financial statement as presented.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Bruning. All in favor? 4-0 passes. Thank goodness. All right, we're gonna move to, I'm sorry. Item number 2. I'm gonna need a staff introduction of this item, please.
Public hearing by the Board of Adjustment at the request of Michaela Rambler on behalf of the Glen Hotel LLC for a variance for the item listed below, located on acre 0.187, tract F7-24, abstract A136, Milam County School LD, tract F7-24, also known as 201 Southwest Bernard Street.
Okay, I don't believe we have an applicant here to speak. Any questions from the council for our staff member? Understand what we're voting for here or looking at? All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing now on this item, and we have one speaker registered, Ms. Edwards.
Hi, my name's Richard.
Cheyenne Edwards, 202nd Street. I'm gonna speak on me first, and then I'm gonna speak also on for Brenda Ransom, who couldn't be here tonight. She owns Country Peddler across the street from where this, or kind of diagonal from where this is taking
Still only
place.
have 3 minutes total.
Yes, sir. I just want you to take in the impact of, yes, there may have been agreements made previously, but we don't know about per se as a public. However, having to take 31 rooms and have no parking and you're only allowed street parking per se is maybe what happens. I know some of those businesses are currently vacant, however, most of them have been sold within the last month or less. Honestly, one's going up, one's being sold, as I know in the last few days, pretty recently. I know the other one across the street here already sold. If you're gonna allow, I know 31 rooms won't be booked all the time, however, hopefully we're looking at a good 20. 20 people brings 20 extra cars to a town that already doesn't have a lot of parking right there. Street parking, yes, maybe looks to some people, if they park in front of these businesses, that people are there. However, and it would also discourage his people to stop and not go to these businesses. If they see a ton of cars lined down the road, they're not gonna stop. They're just gonna keep going because it's not easy to get there. It's not easy, especially because in order to get to all of these businesses, you either park in front of them or you have to walk a pretty good ways. And for some people, that's not an easy thing to do. So just really, really think that the owner of this place needs to come up with a better solution, because also she didn't bring a solution. Maybe she would have if she was here tonight. However, from what I know, talking to the building department, there was no solution brought up to this. Oh, I guess we're just gonna make them park on the street. There was no parking lots suggested. There was nothing to say, hey, here are some other options that we have that we could use. Now, that was my opinion. So now I'm gonna go to Brenda's opinion. Brenda Ransom, she owns Country Peddler, like I said, across the street from where this is. She would have been here tonight. She had she's on part of the rodeo committee, so she had to do that. She already has a hard time with her business because of where it is. And then they have now a new business next door to her that is also struggling pretty much. Now theirs is just a hobby. Brenda's is a hobby, but it also is her livelihood in a way. That's what she does for a living, antiques and estate sales. And she parks in front of her store, yes, and that's how most people know she's at her store, to stop and shop and to talk and see her. However, and then you have the Chinese restaurant and the Maker's Table. And honestly, the Maker's Table seems they do have a lot of cars that park there because they have a lot of little kids that go there and do the activities that they offer and do. And a lot of the times the Chinese place comes and goes. However, you have to think about the impact you're parking cars for a weekend. So we're talking 2 or 3 nights just parked on the side of the street in front of all these businesses that are trying to survive in our town that's already struggling to keep business downtown.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Kim?
Kimberly McDonald, 1077 Rugged Oaks Road, Glen Rose, Texas. I also work for the Senior Citizen Center, which is 209 Southwest Bernard, which is just 2 doors down from the hotel. Parking has become a major issue when we have events and stuff. We have to park on the streets and across the street in the open lot. I think we should withhold the hotel to the standards that we've been doing to the bed and breakfasts. I think they need a parking space for every hotel room. There is land available on the square for parking. They may have to transport people back and forth, but parking is an issue. I mean, we have people from In on the River, we have people from River House Grill, we have people from bed and breakfasts. I mean, our parking lot on Saturday nights is full, and we don't even have an event going on a lot of times. So parking is a major issue downtown. So please consider making them have some type of parking lot somewhere on the square. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak on this? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this. And we can go down to item number 3. Veronica, you want to read that for me?
Board of Adjustment discussions and possible action by the Board of Adjustment at the request of Michaela Rambler on behalf of the Glen Hotel LLC for a variance for the item listed below located on acres 0.187 tract F7-24 abstract A136 Milam County School LD tract F724, also known as 201 Southwest Bernard Street.
Can I ask a procedural question?
I'm sorry?
Can I just ask a procedural question?
Yes, you can.
I've always been under the impression that for any type of a variance or SUP or something, the applicant had to be present to answer questions for council, or you wouldn't vote on it.
That's
I'm
not my
not- I'm
experience.
just-
I don't think so.
I'm just asking procedurally, that's been what I have witnessed,
Can I go ahead?
so.
It's unusual, but I don't believe it's
Okay.
protocol at all.
Okay.
Did you have something?
Well, I would like to table this to next month because Michaela is working on a couple different places for some different off-street parking. I don't know what your guys' ideas on it, but she is working on some stuff.
Well, we have it open now. If anyone would like to make a short comment, that's great, but we can certainly table it and
Yeah, I mean,
consider her options that she may be bringing forth. Anybody y'all willing to wait a while?
Well, I'm willing to wait. I'd love to hear what she has, what her plans are, what she's
All right.
thinking.
All right, let's table this item then. I'll close the item number and we'll wait and hear those options.
Yeah.
All right. Why didn't you table it before we started?
because we already put the notice out for the
I'm
public
kidding.
hearing,
I
so we
know.
need
We
to
got
have.
the
I
public
know.
hearing done.
So,
I know. That
Mayor,
was a
we're
joke.
tabling it till next month, is that what we're doing?
Yes, ma'am, we sure are. Okay, we're going to move now to individual items for consideration. We already covered number 4.
Real quick, she is working on on a plan. I just want everybody to know that.
I don't know where she is.
Go ahead.
Okay, number 4, we've covered. Number 5, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding recommendations for clarification on Article 1.01.018 for the effective date of ordinance. Could you give your name and address, please?
I'm Pam Strader. I'm standing here as P and Z, but it's 205 Southwest Bernard. We brought all of this before you last week, or last month. There was a lot of requests for additional research, because it was tabled and not sent back to the commission. It is here before you again. So I'd like to briefly give you the research, then you can decide whether you want to accept some changes to what we originally presented, or if you wanted to go back to commission, and we revise and bring forward a new idea, is the only way we can do this. Or you can table it again. So the first one that we're discussing is clarification on the effective dates of ordinance. In researching and talking with TML, general ordinance not related to zoning is available to be effective once city council votes and approves the ordinance. The mayor signs it within the 4 days of the approval and the city secretary records it. So I suggest that we do that. A zoning ordinance, and this is something that I do not believe that we have ever done and we need to start doing. Any ordinance that accompanies any types of fines or penalties. Once city council approves it, it has to be published in the newspaper to give notice that this is now in effect and that it is only after it has been published. And because we're a weekly paper, it's published once. Can the ordinance go into effect? So as we have been adding some ordinances that had some teeth to it, I do not believe that we followed this. So we're going to have to go through, find those, either remove any penalties or publish all of them and move them forward as official so that we have teeth. What TML said is that if you don't do it, it just means that the courts can actually think about whether they want to honor the penalty or not. But if you publish it, the courts will automatically side with the city.
All right, we'll consider that.
So that's the findings. Do you guys want to discuss and accept the changes per TML, or for when we do an ordinance, do you want to send it to the commission to rewrite, or do you guys want to table it? Those are your 3 choices, or kill it and not do anything. Those are your 4 choices.
How many ordinances are we talking about publishing in the newspaper?
What the main ones that we have right now that have penalties attached are really about tree ordinances. There's a few other minor ones. We're talking probably 10 at the most.
I think some of those were published. I think when
We'll have to go
Michael
back and
when
double
Michael was
check.
here, Michael published.
Okay, we'll have to go back and double check.
Yeah. I don't think that's an issue. I'm fine with the language that we have right now. It says, unless otherwise expressly provided within the specific ordinance, all ordinances adopted by the city council shall take effect immediately upon their passage and approval by the city council. And here's that about posting. If an ordinance expressly states that it also takes effect upon publication, such ordinance shall take effect upon its publication within the city's official online code of ordinances or as otherwise lawfully designated by the city council. So if we pass an ordinance that has a penalty, then we have to publish that ordinance. And then in that ordinance, we can either state that it's effective 60 days post, 30 days post, it's immediate, whatever the flavor is. This kind of covers within what TML has put out there, because so 2 or number 3, where if the ordinance encompasses fines, penalties, or forfeitures, we would have already posted it in an official publication. I think that's the definition of the publication. So to me, I don't know that we gain anything by changing 101.18.
I believe I agree with that, George.
Okay,
So you want to do option D?
I'll make that motion that we do not change our ordinance.
Do you have a second?
Can I ask, did something happen that has made this come to light that we were kind of iffy on, or whoever was complaining was not understanding? I mean, what's kind of the reason for this coming forward? Something happened with this, Pam?
there was some questions of people wanting to understand, and so of when the effectiveness went. And so we just wanted to clarify it with a little bit more simple speech.
So it's the speech, the verbiage, it's not so much
That's-
what we have is wrong, it's
Yeah.
just, it's
So we're
not
fine-
comprehensible
We're
by
fine with
the.
leaving it as is.
Well,
Because you pulled up what's published online, George, right?
Ma'am?
You pulled up what's published
Yeah.
online?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
I'll second.
Council, we have a motion,
I'll
second by Mayor Pro Tem Mann. All in favor? 4-0, passes.
okay.
All right, item 6, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding recommendation for addition of Article 4.10, short-term rental, to include information about the current SUP process as well as density and zoning regulations.
Okay, so to remind you, this came up because there has been multiple times of speaking over the last several years about short-term rentals, how many we have, and whether or not it is playing into any type of a housing situation. So for the record, the last count is now 53 within the city limits, which makes just over 5% of our single occupancy homes are operating as short-term rentals. So we had proposed some ideas. If you'll remember, we had kind of started with some just basic regulations and formatting, asking for some additional information that would actually help the tourism department with tax information, by getting the codes that are needed. We originally had kind of said, the commission had kind of said, take everything that's basically from Bernard to Menard River to 67, put that in as where short-term rentals can be with no caps. The question came back from council on how do other cities do this? And so it's a little all over the board. They obviously have parking rules, they have some occupancy rules, noise and ordinance rules. There are cities that do an inspection once a year. David is not asking for that, by the way. He quite plainly told me he does not necessarily believe that we need to be doing inspections. But in some towns, it's fire marshals that they're asking to go in for safety reasons. I know that when Herefordshire was opening, there was a lot of talk from the fire marshals that every room needed to have a door, every door that was being occupied needed a door number on it so that they knew it was a room occupied by tenants. And we don't have that anywhere in our ordinances. And whether or not we want it to be, I'm just telling you what's going on. Key things are, like in Fredericksburg, their goal is to keep it all in the tourism area, but not avoid over concentration in nearby neighborhoods. You'll see that New Brunswick's manages their biggest things are strict zoning enforcement, special use permits, keeping it into commercial zones and not standard residential districts. Some of the specific small towns are doing city-specific permits, occupancy limits. When we went and looked exactly at whether a percentage cap versus a zoning regulation. So Austin and Waco and a couple other cities do percentage caps. They do it mainly on block faces. So like one house per block could be, and that doesn't make sense for us here. That's not feasible. Some areas are area-based caps. So again, you look at per mapped area, put a citywide percentage in. Other cities are just zoning it into some areas and other areas. So I will tell you, I kind of posed, we talked about some of this at the last commission meeting. And one of the ideas that we talked through was kind of, and I sent a map around to you guys, was inside the green blocks have unlimited. Out inside orange is absolutely none. And then outside in those boxes, put some type of a cap in. So if you're looking at the orange blocks, that's all the streets surrounding the schools. And so keeping them away from schools, which we did find a lot of towns were doing. The green blocks were basically going down Bernard Street. It's up and around the square. Maybe taking off, I will say Yamke, who's our real estate representative. She was kind of thinking adding Jefferson and some of the stuff a little further away. Kind of going up Hereford to the left where Jefferson Avenue, Walker and Ross, and letting those be in the unlimited block. But really, we're happy to go do anything on this one. So here's your options again. Send it back to the commission to re-look at it all again and present new ideas. Vote on something related to what we've presented, or some changes. Table it for you guys to have more time to review, or kill it. And we do nothing about short-term rentals, which basically means anybody could come for a short-term rental in any residential zone and they would have to be approved. Because there's no reason to say no.
So do we have a current SUP process?
We have an SUP process. What we want to add to that SUP specifically is some additional information about their VRBO ID number, their Airbnb ID number, and making sure that they've registered that they're paying hotel occupancy tax. That will help Tracy. Not still taking it through the SUP process, but making sure we have additional information so that it's easier to reconcile, are they paying or not paying their occupancy taxes?
Any other questions from council?
So it's not really a question. I guess it's just more, I just think this is such a hard.
It is. It's very hard. Very, very hard. And so many cities are grappling with us.
So right now, one of the suggestions is the area outside, I think you said the green box,
Uh-huh.
none could be issued past now. I mean, whatever's there is there.
So
They'd be grandfathered.
in the original plan that we gave you last month,
Right.
it was Bernard Street to Bernard Street, the river to 67 was an unlimited amount of SRTs, nothing outside of that area.
Right.
What I showed you in the map this time, which was around a discussion that the commission had, we couldn't vote on this, we cannot recommend it, but it was an idea that we had, was that within the green blocks, that those are unlimited SRTs. Outside of the green blocks, you put a cap on. And then inside the orange ones, you have 0. They're not allowed. So anybody that's in the orange right now would be grandfathered, but we wouldn't allow another one to happen.
And then anybody that's in the area,
Anybody
What
that's
it-
outside the green would be grandfathered in.
so would we be at that cap outside of the green right now?
Don't actually know.
Okay.
I don't believe so. I believe that the majority of the SRTs really are- in the city limits are within this green area. But you can decide what your cap is. You may cap it at 5%, at 10%. I think we're probably about 20 outside of the,
I had a report from Source,
7%.
yeah. Oh, no, that's.
yeah, but some of this is county.
Right, so some of that, so there's 62 that we've identified that are in the city and the county, so I don't have a location on those.
And you have a quick comment?
I just had a question. Should know that there's 53 short-term rentals and that accounts for that accounts for 5%. Does that include the short-term rentals that we know are owner occupied and they just give it up for a few weekends? Is she including that? Because a lot of those that have come for SUPs are owner occupied, 300 out of the 365.
To our knowledge, no, that does not include those.
So you're saying, I apologize,
So it'd be
Mr.
over
Mayor.
5%. What is being counted by the reports that they've gotten from this company and what myself and Tracy have looked through are the ones that are regularly advertised, that are not related to an owner occupied home.
Okay.
All right.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor.
Anything up here?
Yeah, so you're referencing a new map, which council does not have. All we have is the old map that you had that has the entire large
Nope.
circle.
You should have been,
So-
Veronica?
I don't feel comfortable personally voting on something that I don't have before me at the
Were
moment.
you looking at
so-
this same map I'm looking at?
Yes, sir. Yeah, but that's not the same as this.
I gave
She's
Veronica
got something
this
different.
for you guys.
Veronica,
I sent you everything she sent me. I forwarded it on.
So,
because we don't
I've
have
got
that
your,
map.
you know, where it says see map, see green,
Yeah,
green's unlimited, but there's no map.
no, scroll down
The next items.
out of the text, if she forwarded you the email, or did you put the email
We
elsewhere?
just get an entire packet.
This was attached to the email I sent to her.
I just was making sure it wasn't just me that
No,
doesn't have the
I'm
map.
the same, I'm
So-
looking for the orange blocks.
I'm sorry, it was on the email I sent her. We have to forgive her, she has had a lot going on.
So I wonder what the impact of the changes that we've made recently for lot sizes and the work on Rock Ridge 3, some of the properties that we have developed. If the solution we're trying to solve for is a workforce housing question and not a reuse of an existing property or conversion to an existing property from a rental or a home to a STR, then I wonder what the effect of the recent changes that we have made will have on.
It certainly attacks it from another angle, I believe.
Send this back to the commission.
I'm comfortable with that.
That way you get the map
Well,
approved.
before we do that, I think it's such a rock and a hard place, because Rich brought it up last time, that so much of our affordable housing is within our city limits. Like, you know, a lot of the homes that are going down Bernard Street are smaller homes. I can think of 3 families, that was their first time home, you know, that had lived there. But on the other hand, I would live well, I'm not sure exactly where my house is, but I know I would drive through the area you're suggesting be a cap. And there are homes, we live by each other, there are homes on that road that it would be so exciting if somebody would buy it. It's very small. It would be very hard for a family to live in. Because what I've seen is when they do buy them for short-term rentals, they're fixed up, they're super cute, and they just make things. So I would be in favor of us looking at caps, and maybe even in some areas, and maybe even a cap within the city limits, because outside of these parameters you're giving us, what other areas are areas that would be comparable housing prices? That, and like I said, Rich brought that up last time, which I thought was a fantastic
Well,
idea.
Like I said last time, last month, is that one of my big concerns is Granbury has a blocked area that is only for STRs, and the properties there, you can't touch a piece of property there for under $450,000, where you can buy something anywhere else in the city for $300,000. So where I'm getting at is the property in that geographical area, because it's a moneymaker, or however you want to call it, a short-term rental to make an income, the people that are selling those homes in that geographical area are asking for a lot more money for their home in that area. So, and that's one of my fears, that will be something that we'll have to deal with if we do something like this ourselves. It may end up being that we block off a certain area, that property, that real estate area
Becomes unrealistic.
might be even more, well, number one, more in demand, but it's gonna have a lot more higher price because of that.
Right. George, do you have opinions?
I'm ready to make a motion.
A lot of opinions.
I think we're trying to, not necessarily apply market manipulation, but we're trying to kind of solve for something that we just don't see yet. I mean,
Well, I
We
disagree.
have-
I think we do see it.
where is the problem? Where are people running to go buy homes and converting the use? It's not there.
All right, good point.
It's just not there.
Well, we just had one,
We've had
2,
one.
3,
How
no,
many
I've
homes-
got
how many-
5 in the
Okay, so you've
last,
had 5.
we've had 5 in the last couple of,
In
in the
how many
last
home
6 months.
sales, and how many home sales have there been inside the city limits? And we can come up with 5.
I don't know that
And
answer, but I
2
will,
of
I
them
will
that
find
I
out.
know of are existing Airbnbs that went back to an Airbnb. So that's
So
a
you
double
wanted to
count.
kill
You
the whole
can't
topic.
get that. I would be in favor of let's see what happens with some time and with some of the changes that we've made for the properties that we have identified that could be cut up and made into smaller pieces, and you could get an affordable home onto a lot. Let's see what happens with that before we go into something like this, because the other piece of it is, if someone has a grandfathered STR,
Mhm.
they have an accessory dwelling unit, and they have an existing Airbnb, they would be grandfathered because they're outside of the zone. Then we have, in effect, if that person goes to sell that property, they can't monetize the value of that additional unit for an STR. So in effect, we have affected their value of the home that they could have sold it for, because then they would no longer be able to be grandfathered in, and it wouldn't transfer with it. They'd have to come back to us and have a variance or some other type of way to go back and open that property up that was an STR already.
This came up because we were asked through various conversations of council that we needed to start looking at this, we looked. This is
And
all
when we
you
looked at it-
guys.
And when we looked at it 2 years ago, we reached the same conclusion.
we brought it to
We did
you
not want to
guys.
do anything
You
with it
are
then.
ultimately the ones that have to make the decision. So it sounds like we either send it back to the commission or you're killing it is the two main discussions.
Well, I agree with George in that I would like to see the impact of the changes we made.
Okay.
I think we've opened up ourselves an opportunity for people to build affordable housing.
We can kill it for 6 months and then if you guys see the need, we bring it back again. I don't have a problem with that. You can kill it for a year. You just tell us when you want us to pick it back up and work on it again and we'll do that. I have no qualms about how this is all your decision. We're just doing what we were told.
You did very well.
So,
George, you got a motion?
I will make a motion.
okay,
Let me get to the agenda item. I make a motion to not adopt a section regarding the short-term rentals for the city of Glen Rose under Article 4.10. And use our current SUP process.
can we alter the form? Just to add those two other little things?
No,
Doesn't say they have to pay hotel tax,
my motion.
doesn't
Okay.
help them collect hotel tax.
I tried.
Do we have a second?
I tried to, but it didn't work.
I'll second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Mann.
Before what are you saying that you wanna add something about?
Hold on.
On the SUP
You already have a
form,
second.
Yep.
It's not her, it's her.
on the SUP form that we add, that they have to give us the VRBO ID number and the Airbnb ID number.
And that's so you know they're paying their.
So that is when the check, and Veronica, you need to tell me if it's not happening this way.
I'll agree to that. Yes.
Yeah, that's what we want.
That's what I
When
said, George should read.
VRBO or Airbnb send you guys the money every month, do you not get paperwork behind it that has a bunch of ID numbers?
Yes.
That having those ID numbers on the SUP means that we're able to take the paperwork from VRBO and Airbnb and identify which short-term rentals are paying hotel occupancy tax. That's why we want those numbers.
Yes, I'll agree to that. An amending and adding the SUP process to include the VRBO number, the Airbnb number, the RentMe number, whoever it is out there that is
Whoever
out
numbers
there,
gonna give us hot
whoever it
takes.
is,
Yeah.
whoever it is, and however they,
Okay, we have an amended motion.
That's what we wanted.
Stuart has to.
I'll second it.
All right, second by Mayor Pro Tem Mann. All in favor?
I just didn't want you to kill.
4-0 passes.
Okay,
It was all connected. Tracy says thank you.
okay.
7, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding recommendations for addition of Article 3.18, building unit size changes and occupancy factors.
All right, so make sure I'm talking about the right one. Okay, so this is basically, and not to pick on any business, but we all know that when Beehive needed to split their building, there was a whole lot of drama. And so our idea is to take the drama away by outlining very specifically what has to happen if you want to take a single tenant commercial building and convert it to a multi-tenant commercial building. And yes, this is necessary because we've had a few requests. I know 3 more buildings wanting to do this, and we don't want the drama of them not knowing what are the procedures, what are the things that have to happen, why do they need this different information? So that is what this is about. So in going through the discussions, anything related to, let's make sure I get the right paper.
And, you know, some of this language is a little vague to me,
Sure,
and so I'm not sure I'm ready to throw it in on, I mean, such as, I don't want interpretation when we go out and look at an additional, you know, like adequate emergency exits.
well, that becomes a fire marshal discussion.
Well, I know, but I have a little issue with the fire marshal sometimes.
Okay, fair enough,
Dang, okay.
fair enough,
You know, I don't like interpretation,
okay,
but some of the language I've gone through just makes me,
irritated,
well, no, just,
Too much interpretation.
yeah.
okay. So again, here's where your options are. We did a little bit more research and provided the detail. So again, your options are, you tabled it, you can now send it back to commission for us to take the research that we've provided and the comments of don't leave things open for interpretation.
Well, let me ask this, council, does anybody have comments on this yet? Really and truly? If you don't, I'd like to take it myself and go through it and visit with you and
Sure.
David and put a little more.
I'd like to hear David's.
David, come on up.
David LeBron, building official. I'd say my address.
Not just,
Happy birthday, David.
It's on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if I'm lucky or not, but.
Yeah, you are.
So in my opinion, yes, it probably could be simplified. Some of that stuff is already laid out in the schedule of uses. You just need yeah, exactly, kind of understand how you can get to that point. Are you gonna meet your parking standards? Are you gonna meet these? You know, maybe it just needs to just specifically say you must meet these standards if you're gonna do this, you know? Just that simple. Because, I mean, yeah, exactly. Because sometimes they'll try to add a business there and they don't have enough parking. So it's like, well, you gotta understand, if you wanna add that business there, you might have to upgrade your parking. So, I mean, it already spells it out there, but
But we also have other things such as that, you know, whether the walls, you know,
firewall or not.
firewalls and all that.
yeah.
There is other things to it that gives them, hey, if you're currently classified as this, then your building code is this. But if you're changing your classifications
Yeah.
or you're having conflicting classifications, then you're gonna have to follow this.
But if you have an existing building, let's say, not wanting to pick on anyone, but the
I'll tell you, the Glen Coffee
the strip
Company,
center over there by Food Center. I can't even think what the name of it is.
Lakeview is different because that's already multiple tenants.
Do
You've got the Glen Rose Coffee Company right across from the high school.
Okay.
Who wants to divide it into two.
Okay.
They don't want the interior. They wanna go split it kind of in half. They wanna keep the back half with, they've got their kitchen-y, their counter, their drive-through window. And they want to take the front half and make that somebody else's space, whether it be an office or anything that, anybody who's willing to rent it, they wanna do that.
With that 20 square feet they're speaking about?
I didn't say that it made a lot of sense, but I said that's what they wanna do.
Well, it makes sense because their last name is Bowles, so it makes
So-
sense.
They need, so what they need is what is going to be the standard? Are they gonna have in that new space access to a restroom? Are they going to have two, exits depending on sizes? So there is things that it got very confusing for Jackie because people had different ideas of what had to happen. And so by us spelling out, here's the step by step,
takes out that interpretation, because it does, a lot of the ordinance says building officials' interpretation.
So we're just trying to make it more, if you wanna do this, we have no problem with you doing it. But you need to understand, these are the things you're going to have to consider to do it. So that there's no interpretation of, do you need this or that?
Go ahead, Stuart.
Is this the same thing that they did at the old dollar store, right? Where it's the liquor store now and?
Yes, same thing. And we didn't have problems there.
Right.
But that was because you actually had a developer-esque involved with professional construction versus lesser.
Different interpretations of the people doing the work.
So were there
Lesser
any,
informed, how about I say it
And
that
also,
way?
it can change based on your building official. I
True,
mean, you said you've had various building officials, so if this building official reads it this way, and she reads it this way, it's two different interpretations, so you wanna make sure you just kind of, it doesn't have to be, extensive, it could just clearly say this, but.
Right, but we shuffle on Jackie's deal, on the Beehive deal, we shuffled through a bunch of different things, but it's almost like once I got to Veritas, it all kind of planed out.
well, it didn't.
Mayor, do you want to workshop on this?
I think we should. I think there's just enough going back and forth that we need to look and compare.
I'm good with that.
I would be in favor of that.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to send it back to commission with the mayor to assist and clean up the verbiage and make sure that it's all nice and tidy and understanding.
With the building official
With
as
the
well.
building official,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do that, David.
I'll second.
Sounds good.
Second by who? By Mr. Freeze. All in favor? 4-0, passes. We'll get this baby done.
Yeah, wait till you get on down by.
I'm just gonna tell you, then when we hit item 8, this is about when does a property that is going through an expansion or renovation, and taking building code out of play, because building code is very cut and dry.
Yeah.
They have an ordinance for when plumbing, electrical, fire safety, all that. But when it has to be brought up to standards for the city ordinances, and that could be anything from parking, trees, signage, lighting, all that, all of our ordinances related to businesses that have nothing to do with the building code. And the general rule from everything that we've researched is 50%. 50% of the value of the property being spent on renovations. And we've said CAD is the most accurate, or not, but either using CAD, because it's a definitive number that nobody has an opinion about. So you take, well, nobody has an opinion that is changing the number. So whatever the number in CAD is at the time that they're asking for the permits needed is the number that if they're gonna spend more than 50% of that number, then they have to meet all of the city's currently adopted ordinances.
The only problem I have with that is it can be very opulent and cause that. Glen Rose.
Yeah, you're right. But that's the standard for
Yeah, I
building
know,
code,
I
that's
know.
the standard for everything else. So we just said, let's take that same standard. So if you are, adding a little, 25 square foot something closet to a commercial building, it's not gonna hit the number. You don't have to do anything with the current ordinances. But if you've bought something like, look, let's take Red Barn, because eventually that property is gonna come up for sale. It may be in another 100 years, but it eventually will come up for sale. And when that does, they are grandfathered in on so many of the older ordinances of the city that at the time that property is going to need help, that we will want it to come up and follow the current city ordinance of lighting, parking, signage, streets, etc.
But it may not hit 50%.
It may not, and then nothing happens.
I know, that's why I'm flaking out on this one, yeah, well, just think about it. You go into John's place and you look at that, you look at the link.
I think it'll be longer, it will cost more to fix it than 50%, trust me.
Probably.
But at some point in time, when people keep selling a property, a commercial and we're only talking about commercial properties, when a commercial property is changing hands, when are we going to say, hey, we've passed all these new ordinances to improve our city? When do they have to start following them?
Yeah.
And if we're gonna say they never do, then why are we writing ordinances? Let's just go back to the wild
Okay,
west.
I think we need to do something here, but I'm gonna introduce the item anyway and let you guys really just make a decision. Item 8, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding recommendations for amendments to Chapter 3, Building Regulations, Article 3.01, related to what effective code and when existing properties must be brought to effective code. George?
I guess I'm trying to think through, if we have a developer comes and redevelops a piece of property, you're saying that currently some of those other ordinances will not apply?
Mm-hmm. Because we don't have it in writing that they have to,
So then why don't we go and change those existing ordinances?
because that's changing it in 50 different ordinances as opposed
So we
to
do
changing
one.
one.
So would an example be, use Red Barn, I'm assuming they have no fire safety if something catches on
I
fire.
seriously doubt that they
I-
do, but yes,
And so, but one of the ordinances that I assume we have in
it is fire,
effect is fire safety.
that actually comes under the building code.
It's under the
So
building.
that would be touched by the building code.
So if that property sells,
The building
Then
code's gonna
the
kick
building
in.
code's gonna hit that particular thing.
Fire safety, electric, plumbing, and
So give an example of something that would not be
lighting,
covered.
signage,
Oh,
trees,
you did.
Landscape
parking,
ordinance.
landscape. That's all the stuff that we're talking about.
But
Myself.
parking's gonna come with their site plan and a redevelopment.
But it doesn't have to, is what you're saying, right? They could build that building and leave a gravel parking lot
didn't spend the 50% of
if it had 50%. Right?
If they did.
Is that right?
If they spent less than 50% of the valuation of the property, then no, they don't have to do any of the updates. They can continue letting it be as is. If they spend more than 50% of the value, and we're proposing 50%, you guys can set the amount.
I think it needs to be lower myself.
I'm just saying, you guys can set the amount. We're saying 50% of the valuation of the property based off what CAD says. Then, or you can choose to add what the purchase price of the property was, as long as it was purchased within the last some time period, 6 months, something like that. But whatever that value is, if they're spending more than that, more than half or quarter or whatever it is, they would have to bring up to the business in city ordinances. All the fire, life safety, the building code, the plumbing, the electrical, the water, all of that's falling under building codes. That's taking care of it, that is all 50%.
Okay. Council.
So if you, I'm just sitting here thinking through this. So if we have easy numbers, we have a $500,000 piece of property. They do $250,000 worth of improvements or more, the way this is at 50%. Then we would have an expectation of the landscape ordinance, the parking ordinance, the other things that are not related to a code, electrical or building, It could give us the opportunity to have a development agreement with,
Right.
with the property owner. A true development agreement where we could get a better development at the end of the day by having compliance with something like this. So it's maybe a way to introduce a good development agreement for a piece of property.
Well,
And keep in mind, a variance would still be possible.
Which they would have to apply for.
Correct. I mean,
I
the
see,
Glen
I see
Hotel
the use here,
is-
but my problem is this, outside of Red Barn and a couple other spots, they're never gonna get to 50% in a lot of cases.
I'm
I don't
disagreeing
know, there's a lot of buildings, and I'm not gonna call out people's names because I own one. But there's a number of buildings that have value on the tax rolls.
Okay,
That-
well, I don't get to vote. Y'all just, hey, listen, I'm not gonna tell you more after this public comments. We got a huge storm coming and I wanna get out
I
of
was
here.
just gonna ask, my only question was, you were talking about if they sell and all of that, if a new owner has it and they do the upgrades, they automatically have to do the new ordinance if they come to a new owner. The current owner doesn't have to do the upgrades because it hasn't sold, the value hasn't it hasn't sold, is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what they said.
No,
Okay,
So ours is, okay,
cause you were talking about selling.
yeah, let's discuss that later. We get it here. That's
in
what
our
counts.
case, it could also be not that the property sells, but that somebody who currently owns it is
Okay.
doing work.
Starting to do
Okay,
work.
all right. Now, just to let everyone know, there'll be no more public comments allowed tonight.
Oh, that's
I got one question for you. When we talk,
If you do wanna discuss it, just come to a member afterwards, Cameron.
when we talk about grandfathering in,
Yes,
is grandfathering in under the building permit side, or are they automatically grandfathered in once they start the demolition permit? In other words, I'm using the Glen Hotel as an example, right? They currently have a demolition permit.
There's no grandfather.
no, it's building permit.
Yeah.
Every single permit
That
has
depends
its
on
own thing.
alteration level.
So
And it
if
says
this
in the-
passed, then they would have to,
Oh, you're talking about for them, yeah.
Yes, I'm referring to them, because
Okay.
we're talking grandfathering.
You're saying, are they gonna have to
So
conform
they
to it
will
if
have
we
to
pass this
conform.
today?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm
I got
asking,
you.
because, okay, they've already started a permitting process, but they're
But
not
it's-
at the building permit,
No,
they're at the
so-
demo permit side.
So each permit,
That's
each
why I'm
permit, the
Wanna make it
demo
clear.
permits, it would only be on the building, when the building permits hit.
So again, like I started
Per
saying,
TML.
if this turned around and passed, and they turn around and started working and coming to the building official tomorrow to get a building permit to start their construction, they would have to follow all the new guidelines.
Correct.
Not any of the, that would be grandfathered in.
Which is actually why in the change of ownership is what forced the whole parking variance to come up.
I would be in favor of let's kind of parking lot this for a little while and think through the implications of it. Because I do like the idea of having an opportunity to have a development agreement with the developer who wanted to do something nice and they have some hesitancy or there's some reticence on their part to comply with all of our zoning ordinances.
That's
Not
the whole
just-
goal here is, because when you see, like you said, a mom and pop come in, but they might not have enough money to do the parking lot.
But by Texas law, and this is where this was really coming in, and as Ann was mentioning, by Texas law, the grandfathering stops when ownership changes.
Right.
Okay, that's why the Glen had to come to you for the parking variance.
Right.
So this is really geared around people upgrading if they already own it.
Yes, but it wouldn't be that only.
No,
This would apply to anyone who was
Correct.
making a revision to an
Correct.
existing piece of property that
correct.
was greater than 50% of the
Correct.
value of the property as reported on the CAD.
Correct.
I would be very comfortable with thinking through this for another month or so and,
So-
and think we really,
So your options again are table, send back to commission for us to revisit it some more. Or kill.
I, for one, don't want to kill it. I think anytime we're trying to make upgrades to current structures, that's a good thing. So,
Yeah, but I don't want to limit, you can play that and that's great. I agree with you. But
So,
we want to continue allowing developers to come in and do something and not say, hey, if you go over 50%, you got to adhere to all this. And they say, no, thank you. I don't want to get to that point either, because we will.
so here's what I suggest, just like the last one, that we send it back to commission with the idea that Joe or somebody you
And the council.
appoint, workshop with us and David on how can we get this where
George,
we
why don't you do that? You're really well versed in this.
I will.
Okay, let's
Okay.
put George on that and take it back.
All right.
I will.
All right.
I'd like to point out, this is 2 months in a row I got nothing passed.
You're on a roll.
I am. All right,
Well, let's do number 9. Maybe you get something there.
Well, we need to take a
We got
number.
Go
no,
ahead.
you just tabled it, so motion to table. Okay,
Well, it's not table, it's going back to commission.
oh yeah, it's going back to commission, yeah, that's it, you gotta vote on that.
Make a motion, Rich.
I'll make a motion to send it back to commission and have Councilman Freeze work with P and Z and David and to readdress modifications to this.
I'll second.
Yes, sir.
We're ready to vote.
Who's second?
We're worried about the
Winter,
window.
who's second?
George.
George.
Or
Okay,
Stuart, one of the two.
all right. All in favor?
Oh, we
They already all raised their hands.
4-0 passes.
Okay,
Discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the dismissal of a planning and zoning commission member and the appointment of a new applicant.
we have a member of the commission who last year of the 13 scheduled meetings held, missed 7 of them, which means more than 50%. We've had 2 meetings so far this year, she's missed 1. We are asking that you enact your rights for a lack of attendance to remove the person from the commission and review your options for appointing a new person. And the reason we are saying this is we want a full commission to have a full, well-rounded opinions as we bring things forward for you. And right now, we aren't doing that.
Council?
has this person requested to be?
No,
So is this gonna become a surprise to this person?
not a surprise.
We all
Because the
know the
ordinance-
limitation, if you miss a certain number of meetings.
Yeah, our ordinance states 3 meetings. We have given her plenty of time.
Yeah.
And she has been told,
Did you tell her that?
yes,
Okay.
Documented.
no.
Doesn't have to be, I mean, we know the ordinance, it's there.
The ordinance stands behind you guys removing the person. But honestly, she's got so many other things going on.
How's this man's last name? Is that Cuda?
Yeah.
Cuda?
Do you know who he is?
No,
He has the tattoo parlor.
don't know.
The what?
He's come to
They-
several
So the
meetings.
tattoo.
Yeah,
I know the
he
tattoo
comes to
parlor.
every one of our meetings. And we have engaged him in
Oh,
dialogue with
Matt.
the meetings.
Oh,
Matt,
I go, yeah,
Yeah,
Matt, real
Matt.
deep voice fella, nice, very polite guy.
Is
Yeah.
it Cuda?
I actually don't know. Why are you asking me?
Well, because I want to make the motion, and I want to like
I'll
address
tell you
it
what.
properly.
When he
No.
came before council, it was putting his tattoo shop in, and there was
Right.
adversity with the landlord as well.
Correct.
He presents himself very well, and he
Yes.
loves this community,
He
and
does.
I'm gonna say this is a good thing.
And we asked him, I will say that when we asked him if he had an interest level in it, and if he did, would he please apply? Because we have this partial vacancy that we need to resolve.
I make a motion to appoint Matt Cuda to the unexpired term for someone,
Megan Schulte.
Megan Shulkey.
A second.
Seconded by Ms. Mapes. All in favor? 4-0. There you go, got one.
Yay!
Number
Thanks,
10,
guys.
discussion.
Can we go to 11? Ms. Bruce is here
I'm
for
okay.
11.
I'm fine. Just keep going.
You're almost there.
Were you in his district?
No, oh, maybe. There we go. Outside of town.
Should have done it a lot sooner.
It's just one more. Number 10, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding applying for the downtown revitalization grant and hiring public management for grant writing assistance. Who's doing this?
Me.
All right.
Well, so if y'all recall, last month, it was brought to our attention that there's another grant opening for the downtown grant. And so I just wanted to put it on the docket so we could possibly engage Jake into helping us with this. So Jim sent Jake, our grant writer that helped us with the park, he sent a letter or asking him about this grant, and I was just gonna fill y'all in. Jake does not feel we would have an opportunity to get this grant because our city scores 73.26 in their index. And last year, the lowest score that was awarded that was 79.5. And the main reason is that our median household income is relatively high. He did go on to say that if we were interested, he certainly would assist us with that. The initial application only takes about 20 minutes, and that, to get it filed for the grant. So I was all excited, and then I had the wind taken out of my sails on his response. However, I'm throwing it out there. George and I talked about this, and when I sent you that message, you said, let me ask somebody, and did you find out anything else?
I did, yes. So it's a question of our, what's called an LMI, our low and moderate income. So the census says the low and moderate income is like $74,000 or something, and our LMI is 71. So we will lose some points on that LMI number. There's no doubt about that. But we have not ever applied for this grant, so we'll get the full 50 points for that because we have never applied. And I'm sure that's probably where Jake scored it. And maybe we were close, but we didn't quite get there. There's a couple of points that you could pick up for an overmatch. Currently the match is $50,000 to get the max points. And there's a little sweetener for an overmatch, but it's $1 million with a $50,000 kind of baseline commitment for us as a group. And did Jake say how much he'd charge us to make the application?
No, he just said it would take about 20 minutes in the email that he sent back to Jim.
Even if they tell us no, I'd love to see it because the scope, if we did the scope of the grant to be the walking bridge from Heritage Park to downtown, we'd certainly spend $1 million. So we're not gonna have a problem spending the money. And if we could score it and just by chance somebody else doesn't apply and it were to drift down to closer to our number, maybe we could get us an award. I would be in favor of applying. It's just Jake's right. Our LMI is pretty high. There's no way to challenge it. We can't go do a survey. The number's the number. So we're going to get 3 or 4 points for that category. And that's, others maybe have a lower LMI. So they get more points than we do. That's for sure.
I wasn't here when y'all did the park grant. So, how does Jake
It's a percentage.
a percentage of what
Right.
you are awarded? But what if you don't get it?
7%?
No, I think he gave us a flat fee. It was a flat fee.
7%.
It was we paid him $7,500 to do the Texas Parks and Wildlife grant.
Yeah, this one I would charge $100.
If it takes 20 minutes, right?
Well, I'd like to find out that number first.
Pretty good
Let's
rate.
see what it is.
What's the deadline?
Well, but the deadline is
Thank you.
May
soon.
1st.
What?
Is it May
I
1st?
thought it was April something. Hold
I
on.
think it's in April. So they do two cuts.
Yeah.
They give you the first cut and then they kind of give you a rough score. And then they say, okay, you're moving forward and you need to do more work. And that deadline is August 1, I think, or August 15. And then they tell everybody else who's down in this next tranche, you know, be ready because you may move up if somebody moves out. So there's that kind of jockeying going on. But
Well, you make a motion and say we'll do it if it's under a set amount or,
I don't know what a reasonable set amount would be since I'm not.
well, that Parks grant was pretty complicated.
it was.
And it's $7,500. It's,
The initial one though, what you're saying is that initial one, he's saying would take 20 minutes and then we would know very quickly, right? And then we could
They'll-
do another motion to continue, is that what we could do?
They'll take everybody who has put the numbers in and they'll fly them. And they'll see how far they go with the money they have allocated and based on the requests from the people. So they'll know if they get to number wherever we fall, 43 out of 700 or 60 or whatever the number is. And then they'll know how far down the list they're gonna get. Then they're gonna email you and say, okay, you need to be prepared to move forward into the next step. Therefore, you're gonna put more work into it. Yes. That's
Do
all.
not to exceed 500. Do not to exceed 500.
So we could say that, and
comments.
then if we make it to the next level, we could do another motion, right?
Yes.
Lori, if you make the motion, I mean, number one, I'm glad that you seconded it, but I don't think I would limit it to 500 just in case the costs do go up a little bit on time. I think I would consider saying either 1,000 or 2,000 and leaving it at that.
Okay.
But
If y'all are good with that, I'm good with that. All right, then I make a motion that we check into, or we solicit Jake, what's his last name?
McAdams.
McAdams to help us with the historical downtown grant, not to exceed $2,000.
I'll second that.
second by Councilmember Rooney. All in favor? 4-0, passes. Okay, here's an interesting one. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the needs of the historical buildings at Heritage Park.
Okay, this was me too, and Susan didn't know she needed to sign up.
Okay.
So Susan's gonna share with us. The buildings that are at Heritage Park are in need of some restoration. And Carver also has a suggestion, so she needs to be able to speak on this. But Susan's here just to share the concerns, right, Susan? You have
Yes,
to
and I
say your name.
figured, pictures are worth 1,000 words.
And Susan, you gotta say your name and
Okay.
address and all that, and
Is
tell
it
them
gonna-
what you're over to.
Okay, my name's Susan Bruce. I live at 1113 County Road 418, actually out in Nemo. And,
And your title.
okay, and I am on the Historic Commission, okay?
For the county.
For the county, all right? It's required by law that our county has a state, our county historic commission. Our historic commission are actually the one that originally did Heritage Park, okay? Back when Helen Kerwin, I believe, was heading it up, okay? So the other day I happened to go by there and I was killing time eating lunch because I didn't have time to go home. And I thought, oh, I'll walk around and look at all the houses. And when I did, I was pretty shocked at the state of disrepair they were in. So I thought, oh, I'm going to take pictures and go take this to the Historic Commission. and show them how bad these are, okay? So this is the telephone house at the Maze I actually donated, where the first telephone company was. And you can see from the window there that not only are they rotten, but there's big gaps in doors and windows that are allowing critters or whatever else to get into those buildings, okay? Another window, siding, they all need to be painted, sided, and the longer we wait, the higher the damage is going to occur to them. Eventually, sorry. This is the building that is at the very back and the bottom. I think it's called the Cleaner Building. And I was real shocked to find out it doesn't even have any windows. They've all been knocked out. And so they just stuck painted black plywood back behind them. I've been told actually the inside's in actually pretty good shape. But it's still really, it's pretty sad. A lot of junk piled behind, stuff like that. Atlanta Schoolhouse. The stairs are pretty bad, but a lot of the siding has rotted out. I believe this is a door where you can see the rot and stuff, windows, things like that. This is the one that concerned me the most because it's probably the one that attracts kids the most, and that's the log cabin. And the whole porch has collapsed. You can't tell very good from this picture, but the underneath part's rotted. And so the porch has dropped down. A lot of the boards are rotten. I know a lot of people go there to have photos, family portraits and stuff made, but it's really to the point now where it's almost a danger that somebody's going to get hurt on it. And, the city's probably going to be, you can kind of see the rot and stuff on the porch. This is the Farr House. It's the only building in this park that's actually still in its original position. It's had a lot more renovation, but I was told it was probably 30 years ago that any renovation was done to it. And there is starting to be some damage and stuff to it. It's one of those where if we got to it quick enough, it could keep it from getting to the point where, especially the others were. But there's a little bit of the foundation cracking. There's, places, rodents and stuff can get underneath. But start of the porch is starting to get a little few of the windows are starting to. And anyway, that's what I just wanted to show y'all. And I know that y'all just recently kind of acquired the whole thing and the whole problem. I first said something to Lori and then talking to Ann. There are some grants out there. One Ann brought up was the T-Mobile grant for historic buildings, and the city, the county historic commission, and Ann's the Somerville History Foundation can all three apply for that grant, and all three get that grant possibly. I believe it's $50,000 for each one. It is a match, but there's also, she said it can be in kind also. And so, and then the Historic Commission would also like to get that Farr House designated with a state historical marker. There is a little bit of cost involved with that, mainly just to pay for the marker. But in this town, in the city, we have very few houses that are actually state historical marked, which is ridiculous. Like Dorothy Gibbs, Charles Bernard's house has not even got a state designation on it. And the museum is one where we've already decided we're going to get done this year. It was built in 1902. One of the first ones rebuilt after the tornado destroyed everything. But our kind of goal is on the Historic Commission, because I'm just now figuring out what we're supposed to be doing that hasn't been being done. And we really want to work with the city with getting a lot of this stuff done. Yeah, so anyway.
It's a great cause. During Christmas, Jim Holder and I went into a couple of the buildings, and it's not just disrepair on the outside on some of them. I think this is a great opportunity for a community to come together, businesses to donate materials, people come to paint. I think we can do some things. The city isn't the answer all the time,
Oh, I know.
but I think if we had a group of people, maybe Ann and yourself and some others, try to put, come on, Ann, don't shake your head. But
I was just gonna, I was gonna say that there, for the log cabin, Preservation Texas has a log cabin grant.
well, we need to get together in a little committee and discuss all those, apply for them.
So we've already, the three of us have talked and we for sure are gonna get together. When Susan and I first talked about this, Susan, we didn't know about the grant. So we're bringing the problem, but we're trying to find a solution. So I just wanted to bring it to council so y'all know that we're gonna work on this and work on each segment, trying to get what money we
I
can
think it's
for this
great.
project.
I think it's
So-
great.
And the grant's fixing to come up. We don't know exactly what date, but we need to have a plan in place with the city, the county, you know, and the History Foundation, all planning it together so that once it's turned in, so it's mainly just to let y'all know and
Susan, I have a question. Do you have to present this to the county to get them on board, or you're able to represent because of your?
well, we don't have any money. It's gonna be $2,500 a year. So,
Oh, that's your budget.
yes, but that doesn't mean I can't go back and ask. Okay,
Well, there's some responsibility that shifted with that.
My question pertains to that, because during that agreement, they were very specific on those buildings over there. And I don't remember what the exact language is on those buildings, but that's something we need to look into, and maybe we need to present to them what we're doing and where we're headed. That way we don't want to get caught up at the end and then be like, oh, well, and this.
I have to do a presentation every year for them. And so, I can take whatever I need to it.
But you're saying that when
We need to read the print of the agreement.
There's
because
something in there.
Those, they were the deal almost didn't happen because of those buildings on their end.
Okay,
Because those buildings were donated to Centerville County and now they're owned by the city, you know, you know how it is out there.
Yeah, there's a lot
So
of.
we just need to watch that and we need to make sure we're not asking all these people to dump money into it. We just need
Yeah.
everybody to
we need
acknowledge what's
everybody to
going
work
on.
together to make sure it gets done, because they're gonna fall apart if we don't get
Okay,
busy.
Laurie, great job. I think you start moving ahead with it. I support it. You
I
guys
support it too. I'm just giving my 2 cents.
So,
Thank you.
Stuart, is that something you could look into, or Susan, about what the verbiage is? And then the other question is if the county, if we are successful and we get 3 pieces of this grant, you know, because you've worked on this grant, does the county have to approve the money you
I think
got
it's
the
the
grant,
historic,
go
just
to
or it's the
that.
historic commission.
When the grant goes in, the way we're gonna do it is it's an in-kind grant. It's a matching and an in-kind grant. So therefore, like I did with the other grants, when I wrote the grant, my fee was an in-kind, so that took a portion of it and we'll have to work it through. We'll do it through budget with the county on that part. There are we can get this fixed. The problem is that the county neglected it, the city neglected it, the county it went back and forth because y'all all know that history. And so once the buildings are up and running, they will be fine. And Susan sits on the county commission, I sit on the city commission. It's on our agenda for the 17th, those buildings too, because we were already working on them when all of this was transpiring. So between the 3 of us, Lori, myself, and Susan, we will get a plan of action together. We'll come back with it and then we'll see, because the grant isn't open. T-Mobile grant has not opened again for the 2nd quarter. So that's where we're shooting
That's
for.
a great
Be ready
plan.
to fire on it.
That's why
Yeah, we wanna have
I know
everything
you
ready.
ladies will.
That's
So
a
the
great
reality
plan.
is, Veronica just has to pull the agreement, give the verbiage
Okay,
to you.
Veronica, if you'll send me that, then I'll have it when we meet.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
you all.
y'all.
Thank you, Susan, appreciate it.
Okay, number 12, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the placement of the labyrinth in one of the city-owned parks. Stuart, what do you want to talk about here?
Well, this is what, Ms. Collier came and talked about last month. And I didn't know if y'all are interested in putting it out at the park or not. I don't, it's what she presented last month. We all got the picture of it. You walk and you breathe in and you pray.
I think we, at some point, should discuss the location, whether, I think Heritage Park is the likely, I mean, I don't know, not speaking for everyone, but we've got a lot of plans and some limitations with our grant at the complex. So we'd have to consider that in addition to, so.
Then let's just find a place, and once she finds a place for it, we'll bring it back with the location, and if we decide to do it, we decide to do it.
Yeah, we'll go over and take a look and see where it might.
I don't even know what, I mean, do we have any idea how large this thing is?
Well, you can walk through it, so I would imagine it's gotta be probably a minimum of a 10-foot diameter.
Probably gonna have to go about children.
And decide, I think last month she said it was like $5,000 piece of art that she just wants to donate and have there, and if it gets tore up, when it gets tore up, it gets tore up, you know, so it's not something that we have to be responsible for in the end. And, you know, when she first brought it, I was talking to her about vandalism to it, and, you know, I mean, we can't stop that, so we can't like, would it be nice to have there and we get a month use out of it? You know, I don't know how much use we'll get out of it.
Same with everything else.
But let's just, I mean, if y'all are okay, let's just move forward. I'll tell her, hey, we're still game, but go find where you want
Let's
to
go
put it.
look at some spots and we'll consider where it might fit.
And
We'll go out and look at it first and then go from there. So we'll consider location. 13, discussion, consideration, possible action, directing Bickerstaff to submit a motion to intervene on behalf of the city of Glen Rose in the newly formed GRSC RPC and Dinosaur Longshore 765 kilowatt transmission line, docket number 59315. That's the new docket number?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I've been in conversation with our attorneys, Bickerstaff. They were actually listening in today. There was a preliminary hearing about just kind of timelines and who was going to be granted as an intervener. If you're interested, I can pull up the email that they sent me about 3:30. The hearing was still going on, but the gist of it is we have until the 23rd of this month to make a request to be an intervener. We're not guaranteed to be an intervener. And then if we wanted to offer any expert testimony, we could, but without being considered an intervener by the ALJ, we would not be able to offer anything except continuing to fill the docket with our comments and our words and the impact to the community. I feel like we need to move forward and make an effort to be considered an intervener in the docket, because what we don't know is what some of the other cities that are going to be impacted by the other routes, the other links, if they are going to be intervening, and they will be advocating for a route that would maybe include the A3 segment, because right now the Best Meat segment, route number 552, is not an A3 inclusive route. We know the switch is going to be north of town. There's two ways in, out of it, you know, north and south. So right now the A2 link is the Best Meats link. And as I said in the email, there's 130 routes. 62 of those routes contain the A3 link. So we are in jeopardy of having a route being proposed by the ALJ and the administrative law judge in putting forth the route that could be impacting us. There's no guarantee that they will follow, the PUC would follow the recommendation of the ALJ, but they generally do. So this is kind of the timeline. In 180 days, they have to do the discovery, the hearing on the merits, the post-hearing briefings, the judge's proposal for decision, written responses to that PFD, and then a PUC final decision before August 17th. So if we're not on the train, we're watching it go down the station.
Let me ask you a question. Has Bickerstaff connected with the other law firm by the landowners?
No, sir.
Because they were filing for this, I believe.
They were as well. That's correct.
Do we don't
need
want
the
to.
more- We need the most chances we can
Well,
get.
they're only gonna give you one.
Well, no,
We're two
they're
separate people.
they're asking as individual property owners. We're going to be asking as the city.
No, they're not, because property owners won't be allowed. As my understanding, the property owner will not be allowed to intervene. They know their issue.
They're gonna have to make the case that they are
Well,
an affected property owner.
where do we stand money-wise here? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, so we've spent, Veronica, we paid them $4,300.
She has actually not sent me an invoice yet.
Okay,
So,
so
And we allocated,
15,000.
I thought it was 10.
10, plus we had 2 from another agency and 1 from a second. So we have 13 roughly to kind of keep our powder dry. And then my intention is if it goes beyond that, then we need to ask the county to kind of walk along with us. And I think they would be favorable
I do
to
too.
it.
I would like for them to at least visit with the landowner's attorney, just to see what we
Okay.
can do. Can we do 2 interventions? I mean,
Yeah, I know I say it, I believe that you can, but would have to find out who their attorney is and have Bickerstaff interact with them and find out what they
they've
are,
connected before.
what they are going to be.
Yeah.
What's the basis of their request for intervention?
Yeah.
We know what ours is.
Mhm.
It's the impact upon the community, it's the hotel tax, it's our sales tax, it's our viewership, and it's the Golden Cheek Wobbler.
Right.
Those are
And
that's our bullets in the,
I bet with that law firm, and I know that the landowner is not priority because they know their issue, value, land, property. The issues they want to hear are just what you mentioned.
right.
And they were going to go down that course, and we need to just put them together and say, hey,
Yeah.
tell us what we need to do.
If they can get it, it's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard to
it
be
is.
granted an intervenor status. There's no guarantee that we will be.
No.
But if we don't ask, we'll never be at the table.
We have to ask.
I just want to be coordinated with both
Sure,
firms.
100%. Yeah, I can put them in contact with the 2.
Okay, I can give you the other attorney's name, and let's
Okay.
do that. We still have a lot of money on the till there, so.
Yeah.
We keep moving forward.
So ask for the
We-
intervener
Mm-hmm.
in coordination with the other land.
Yes. And if we can do multiple, each one of them request.
Okay.
Because we're not on the till for the other ones, but yeah, I think it's a must.
So is that a staff direction or a motion?
We already have direction, don't we?
No, let's see.
Because we've already had a vote to allow the money.
No, we need a motion. We need
For
a
Oh, it's
motion.
Different number now?
This is the docket number, 59315.
That was,
Yeah,
that
they
was the
changed
old
the
one,
docket
right?
number.
It changed.
That
They
was,
changed it. This is the.
That's the new one. Because the other one started with a 3.
this is the docket number they're working under. This is what they.
Okay, let's make a motion.
I move to direct Bickerstaff to submit a motion to intervene on behalf of the city of Glen Rose and the newly formed GRSCRPC and Dinosaur Longshore 765 kV transmission line docket number 59315.
In conjunction with the other lawyer.
Well, we'll just coordinate that. We'll just get this approved and then
Second, since you're.
we have a motion.
Sure.
Second.
I'll second it, sure. I'll
Okay, second by Councilmember Freeze. All in favor?
Well, I thought you were gonna make it to begin with.
4-0 passes.
I just want to see the project get done.
14, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the consumer price index adjustment to municipal telecommunications right-of-way access line rates.
I make a motion to table this.
Yeah.
No action.
I
It's a
do-
tricky way to do it, right?
Well, it is, but if we don't respond by April 30th, it doesn't matter. No, there's a deadline.
Okay.
So
Okay,
for
the
the line.
So we get 1.165
1.1157 increase is the.
on the CPI. So for everybody's kind of telephone and other, but you have to take no action to accept the increase, which is ridiculous.
Okay.
I didn't realize that.
So what do we do with this table?
I would personally rather just table it, or we can just,
Whatever you wanna
because
do.
we don't need to, if we want the increase in revenue, we take no action.
Well, it was,
The proposed rate increase, if you want to.
with the CPI, there's no control over it.
Or you can decline it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you can, who would do
Or
that?
you can propose your own rate.
Oh, I love that idea.
No, joke.
I make a motion to table the item. I'll take no action.
I'll second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Mann. All in favor? Whatever we're voting on, 4-0 passes. Okay, please, council, consent agenda. All consent agenda items are considered routine by the city council and the mayor and will be enacted one by one on one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests an item to be removed and considered separately. We have any considered separately, members?
I move to accept the consent agenda item as presented. 15, 16, 17, and 18.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Brenning. All in favor? 4-0 pass. Staff reports will have 3 minutes.
Well, we got 3 steps here.
Public Works is not going to be presented tonight. I'll have thoughts from Mr. Jim Holder, please. Police Chief? Do you have anything for us?
I did not.
Any questions, council member?
Added my racial profile on yearly report for the staff. So,
8:45 is the new start, the new number.
8:45?
That's when the rain's coming.
It's the hell they say is gonna come. HAIL.
You gotta spell it for the crowd.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Building and Planning Department report.
Any questions?
I wanna,
Go back.
Stuart, you look like you got a question there.
I asked Mom.
I wanna get a little clearer indication of the word interpretation
Okay.
later on, not tonight.
I'll look it up in Webster.
Any questions? Anything going on we need to know about? Anything new, anything big, Walmart?
Well, I wish.
Oh.
You better not say that too loud.
HEB?
HEB.
Hey. Okay, council, anything? All right, David, you must be doing all right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good job.
Hello, esteemed city council.
Go ahead, CVB Director.
Yes, well, my report this month came in 2 parts. Part 1 was already in your packet, and it was just outlined the projects that we're working on. But the second part is on your desk. So I did just want to draw your attention to, it has the hot tax report on front. Yes, there you go. There you go. Okay, so on the back of that is the Glen Rose map. That is a rough draft. I would appreciate your eyes on it. Yes, it's very tiny. You need a magnifying glass, don't you? That's, we're planning on printing it about this big. I don't know what this is. So please, we want your opinion about what is inaccurate or what would you like to see on it. A couple more updates. March 14th, this Saturday from 8 to 10, our committee that is the pedal party. Yeah, I figured if I called it a party, people would go.
I'd love to be a pedal partier.
Yeah, we're having a pedal party. Bring your gardening gloves. We're gonna plant flowers.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
to 10 a.m.
Be here or be square.
Or till
So,
we're finished.
I'll be there when I get done with men's breakfast.
okay.
Bring your men's breakfast people down.
Yeah, make them work.
Bring your men's people breakfast down.
Yeah.
I like that.
Say
Every-
about donuts.
How many men are
Doesn't matter.
We're married.
The more men we have, the more plants we can plant.
I'll check on that.
Okay, I like that.
We do have landscapers that are showing.
Oh, good.
Stuart.
Okay, also, things to note though, I just wanna, hi Candace, just wanna remind you about some important dates. March 27th and 28th is the Wine and Arts Festival. And of course, on March 28th, we want you to be in attendance at our open house at the Lang Memorial Building and the 100 Incorporation celebration, and of course, the free concert on March 28th. You don't want to miss that. That's Cooter Gras and the Tejas Brothers. Okay, also, another thing to put on your calendar, it's a little bit ahead. May 19th, the City of Glenrose Day is going to be at the Cleburne Railroaders. I think you guys did that last year, so mark your calendars for May 19th for that. And then the last thing is the Biloxi Music Festival is May 22nd and 23rd. So just mark your calendars for that.
What's May 22nd?
That's the Biloxi Music Festival. That's Kevin Fowler, folks. Pretty decent act.
And the date she forgot to tell you is May 2nd is the MS Bike Ride.
Tracy, can I make a small request?
Of course.
Did you email all those dates? Because I couldn't type them into my phone fast enough.
Yes, in
I
fact,
appreciate it.
They're on the
Okay.
website.
they are, okay, so I do want to point this out. So on our new website, we have, it says events. Yes, please go there, exploreglenrose.com. There's an events button right up there at the top, and there's an events calendar. And guys, we pour so much love and energy into that calendar, and it is up to the minute accurate. So if you want to know what's going on this weekend, for example, or tonight, look there.
Also subscribe to her newsletter.
Yes, please subscribe to the newsletter.
Also, I want to say the reel y'all did recently about these dates was excellent.
It's good.
Keep going, keep pushing that stuff out there. It was really good.
When you were in.
No, the one that went out today.
Oh, I haven't seen today's.
It was really good.
Yes, I've enjoyed your videos.
Thank you.
Okay, city secretary, anything?
No, any questions?
I haven't looked at your stuff yet.
All right, thanks, Bree. His name's on the board out there, but David's birthday is coming up, so everybody wish him happy birthday.
What is it, March
Happy
17th?
birthday.
Yes.
Did you say 17th?
So is Tracy's.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Happy early birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Mine's April 14th.
Don't tell anybody it's your birthday. They're ruthless around you.
We have fun. I think that's all. Training. That's all.
Well, I won't announce that.
Building looks good.
You do?
Yes.
Stop the clock. Okay.
I love that.
Okay, we're going to move into executive session in accordance with provisions for Texas Open Meetings Law, Subchapter D, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes, annotated in accordance with executive session, section 551071, with an attorney, interlocal agreements. We are scratching that from the agenda. There'll be no interlocal agreement discussion. Section 551074, personnel matters, accounting and compliance coordinator and deputy city secretary discussions. We will cover that. Executive session, section 551071, consultation with an attorney regarding the Glen Hotel. So we will close the open session meeting and go into executive session as of 7:48 PM.
I know y'all, I'm going home. We have landscapers coming Friday to help put the dirt in, and Saturday those guys are coming back to help put all the flowers in. I know, and then, they're gonna get this done too. We're start working on this. Yes, I did. I'm aware of all of that. And, our paying for the work.
I saw you. I parked my 10-year-old truck under protection.
Look at there.
Free admission.
When you be parking those city trucks somewhere.
Yes.
Yes.
You need to.
There's two of those.
We can pick those
Principal
up
Bates,
if you
one,
want.
Do we ever go back on whenever we come back from executive?
Yeah.
Because I never see it on the videos.
Okay, we'll go back into regular session at 8:12 PM. We're going to consider a couple of actions. One on item number 30. We're going to direct staff, Veronica, to move forward with the CVB and Tracy to look at the new position, consider people, put out a job post for this position. And item number 31, no action to be taken on that. So with that, council, anybody have any comments, anything they'd like to say?
Can I just briefly,
Barry?
very briefly, the mayor and I met today with the Texas Parks and Wildlife lady. We've got some hard deadlines coming up of April 15th that we are going to have a site plan with some cost estimates and a firm
Parks plan.
parks plan, but we can adopt the chapter of our comprehensive plan as our parks plan and maybe add a few things to it so that we could have a parks plan. And then there is a second grant that opens up in May for small communities where we could possibly, if we did a phase 2, we could actually put in a splash pad as a piece of, so TDLR is going to require some accessibility. And if we come off of that accessibility with a clear phase 2, we could maybe apply for a grant that could be a splash pad type environment right there, headed towards where the pickleball courts are going to be. So anyway, we had a good meeting with them. They gave us some good headlines, some good ideas, and told them that we had officially changed the name of the park. So the new name of the park is going to be on all the paperwork going forward. The application of National Park Service, the request to the Corps of Engineers for any studies. So it's moving down the road, but we need to maybe make a road trip to Nolensville outside of Belton because she had done 4 phases for a park down there.
George, has a committee been set up or looked
No.
at for
We've
somebody?
taken,
Did y'all get an email from somebody asking
Yes.
to be on the park?
yeah, we've taken a couple of names that I know of, and we just need to get together and try to flesh out.
Tara Beatty wants to be on there.
She's
I told her
just
that.
sent an email this week.
So we had Tara, Valerie, and Kim. Those are the 3 I'm aware of.
What's the last name?
Tyler Williams.
Valerie
McDonald.
Spikes.
I've got one email.
Oh, so they like you more than they like us, huh?
Okay, we can talk about this.
Yeah, but we're well on our way. Thank you.
So I want to make one comment.
Oh, yeah.
There was a time when Stewart came and tried to replace, got beat out by Candace. Tried to replace a council member. I went and I saw Stewart crying on a curb and I went up to him and I said, don't give up, keep going, you'll be good for this.
Okay,
He's done a
let's
great job.
get off the record.
No, he's done a great job, really good job, and we wish him all the best
Oh,
as
that's right,
county
'cause this is
commissioner.
it.
Oh,
We wish
county commissioner.
8:15.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome, but be safe.
Hey, Tracy,
Be safe, be safe.
I got 3
Oh, good.
ideas for you
Awesome,
there.
I love that. Thank you guys. Appreciate the feedback.
Thank you, guys.
What a great meeting.
Thank you.
What a great meeting.
Thank you so much.
You're
All
welcome.
15 minutes of suggestions.
I'm so glad you guys got it.
Yes.
All right, bye, drive safe.
Good Buckley?
I think
Take
I
care.
did see him leave. But he might have been outside.
No, Lori, I went and talked to Aubrey Ann and she goes,